name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I want to do is I want to go over images and talk about how I made a copy of the Patterson Bigfoot suit from the film of 1967. Okay, now there's been a lot of rumors going around, a lot of lies said about the suit, and I want to clear some of that up as well. I mean, I had a lot of people sit there and go, hey, this person said this about suit, that person said that about suit and everything else. And I said, it really don't bother me. But when they're giving out false information, that really bothers me because they never come to me to ask me how I made the suit or how long it took me to make the suit, how much it cost me to make the suit or anything else. They come up with their own, I'm going to say BS, just to make them think that, make other people think, oh, they know what they're talking about when they really don't know what they're talking about. Now, the suit took me 3 days to make. That's the headpiece, the body, the torso, the legs, the feet, everything only took me 3 days. And yes, it's all hand sewn. Okay, I bought 2 gorilla suits to make that suit. Okay, you're going to see images out there of me in a suit, but then what's called test images where before I altered the suit, before I even made the suit, I just put the gorilla suit on and did some testing because I try to do testing on what they tell you in a story. Like Bob Hieronymus said that he has shoulder pads on and they put pillows for the behind, the buttocks area. They put pillows there and all this stuff. So I did all this before I decided, and they said, well, it was a gorilla suit that Roger Patterson used. So I did all of this before I even altered the suit or even made the suit. I just had the gorilla suit on with the pillows on the backside and the shoulder pads and stuff to see if all this was true, or not. Because if they fail the test, then they fail on their story to me. That's the way it is, whether it's Bob Hieronymus, Bob Gimlin, Roger Patterson, or any of them. So what I'm going to do is, when I made the suit, I had to first find out who made the suit, which I found out who it was. It was Roger Patterson, Bob Titmus, and Ray Wallace. Okay, I had to take a 6-month study first before I could make the suit, and I had to become a taxidermist. So I caught a hold of somebody that was a taxidermist, and I asked him, could you train me in how they do, their taxidermy, how they make the muscles and everything else. So when they lay that skin over it, it looks real. So I had to go through 6 months of training of doing that so I can make this suit. So, I put a lot of time into it. But to make the suit actually only cost me, it only took me 3 days and it was hand sewn. And the cost of the suit only was $243. Now, I know people out there came up with some claims, especially some of these so-called Bigfoot researchers. And I'm going to say so-called because they don't do no research to get their facts straight. They said it took me 10 years to make this suit, which is that's way out of whack. It took me 3 days. They claim it cost me thousands of dollars for materials and all this other stuff to make this suit. No, it did not. It only took me $243 in materials to make this suit. Okay. Now, and that's in today's money. What do you think it would cost back then? But actually, the suit was made of a bear hide, not the gorilla suit. The gorilla suit was used in a different project, which what I'm going to do is make a video on that, or where that suit that Philip Morris sold Roger Patterson, where they use that suit and what film they use that suit in. But in this one here, we're just going to talk about the suit I made, a copy of the suit I made. What I'm going to do is I made a short video with the images in it. As you see here, this is me in the suit with the sun reflecting on me, and I cast a shadow on the ground. Now, the reason why I did this is because if you notice in most of your Bigfoot movies and stuff, they only show the image of this Bigfoot with the shadow of it on the ground, which I think is pretty cool. So that's the reason why I did this. Now, there's going to be some words and stuff out, when I made this and all this other stuff. But first, here is the headpiece. Okay, I'm sitting here looking at all these different styles that they claim is this, they claim it was that, they claim, you know, it was from a Star Trek film, the headpiece and everything else and all this other stuff. So I was just concentrating on this right here, this image right here, when I was making this mask. As you see here, I formed the headpiece first out of Play-Doh. And then I used some rubber and I placed it over. Okay, because actually the face mask was actually made out of leather by Roger Patterson. Okay, but if I had to go into making leather and stuff like that, I had to take a little bit longer and everything else. So I just went ahead and went this way with it for now, just to do some testing. Okay, so I formed the headpiece with Play-Doh, and then after I did form the whole face and the ears and the back of the head and everything else, I start laying this rubber compound over it. As you see here, here's some more images of me doing that, and as you see how the face is starting to form, if you look over here, how the face is starting to form and everything else. The Play-Doh had to use four different colors. We had yellow, green, red, blue, and all stuff. And I'm sitting there, like, you know, you can see the nose. I had to use the green Play-Doh and stuff like that, because Play-Doh is good to work with to make the face first. You know, mold it, and then you can lay the rubber over it, and it works a lot better. And it don't take long, because I made the headpiece. Okay, it took me to form the face, it took me like about 2 hours. Then it took me another hour to overlay the rubber. And then I let it set overnight while I start working on the suit. Okay, now, after I was done making the headpiece, I lined it up with this image here and this image here, as you see here. The one on the far left and the one on the far right. The two in the center is the headpiece. Okay, even change the color like they changed the color in this one here. But even from the original film, I showed it. As you see, they match up. They line up with one another. And that's what I was looking for. After I formed the face and stuff like that, and the ears and everything, and I overlaid this, the hair, the fur on the face and on the headpiece and everything else, it formed just perfectly. This is the back of the Bigfoot suit. Okay, the zipper is no longer in the back. I took the zipper out of the back and put it down the center of the front. Then I sewed that seam together, which gives it a more of a spine look. And then when I added padding on the inside, I sewn across here and here and across the lower part of the back. And I had a crease running down. When you come up to that suit, when I have it on, you can actually feel it, and it feels like it has ribs. And you can feel it actually feels like it has muscles in them areas. And it feels like you can see the outline of the shoulder blades and stuff like that. Actually, when I did that, when I added that padding to it, it gave it a lot of potential, a lot more. As you see it here, this is the inside of the suit. You can see the zipper right here in front. Now you see the gorilla chest right here, which I placed fur over it now. Some of the excess fur I had left over. I put an extra padding up in the shoulder area and around the back neck area, as you see here, with cloth. And I shoved it full of packing with just, you know, you could get stuffing out pillows or anything else. Same thing here, you know, sew the cloth in, pack it, took some extra, as you see right here, sew a little bit here, a little bit here, and up through here, and then we did the spine, and then this gives it that ribs motion into the suit. And then when I move my arms around, it looks like my muscles are flexing in that suit. Now, I put the breast on it, but they're no longer on there anymore, because I used to have it hanging up in the corner of my living room. And I didn't want, you know, when I had it stuffed, I didn't want breasts to be hanging there, you know, in front of my boys, you know. Okay. This is where we call the so-called hernia muscle. Excuse me. That they claim was in the leg. All I did was sew the muscle with another muscle over it. And then when you walk, it looks like it bulges up, like that muscle is flexing, and it looks like you have a herniated muscle, but it's not. It's just padding, you do this for, like I said, I took that course in taxidermy for certain spots where you have to place muscles. So this is basically a muscle that I made, which is like a fluffy pillow, and I sewn it, hand sewn, as you see here. It's all hand sewn, and then I just overlaid it inside of the pants and just sewed it a little bit, you know, so it stays in one spot, but it also moves around. Okay, now as you see here, now the suit is actually bent over. This is the spine coming down here. This is the buttocks area right here. There's the headpiece. This is the suit as we was holding it up. And as you see, there's the arms and there's my hands. My hands can go right into the gloves, you know. And they come down almost by my knees because that's extra padding. As you see up here, we have the extra padding, which made my shoulders more up to here. Because with the suit on, okay, I'm 6'2", but when I had the suit on, I'm 6'7". Okay, that suit gave me 5 more inches in height. A lot of people don't know this, but it does. It gave me 5 more inches in my height because you got to take consideration of the feet, the Bigfoot shoes, your gym shoes or boots that you have on. Then you got the suit on, and that gives you a little bit more height here. And then when you have that headpiece on, and then you got the extra inch or so up here. So you're allowing yourself an extra 5 inches. So with me being 6'2", when I had the suit on, I'm 6'7". Now, if you have somebody that's 7 foot in this suit, they'll be like 7'5". Or even if somebody was 6'8", they'd be 7'2" in it. So see, that all depends on who's got the suit on. As you see here, this is where I sewed the spine into it, to where it looks like it has a spine. And then when you have the suit on and your regular muscles against this padding, that's what gives it the flexing motion. When you got that padding already in there, because all you're doing is like overlaying your muscles, and then when you move with your muscles and you're flexing, that suit is going to do the same thing. That's the back of it again. As you see, you can still see the creases. There's the buttocks area. As you see right here, here's the buttocks area. There's that crease going across, and we have that crease coming down the center. This is the feet and the headpiece. Okay, the headpiece, let me bring it back a little bit. See the headpiece, when you put it on, it slides right over here, which I'll go get it. It's right over here. The body on it, I have it packed away. Here is that headpiece. Okay, there's that headpiece. And you put it on, and it's a real tight fit. This goes underneath the chin, which what I'll do is I'll put it on. It's a real tight fit. This is the added extension. As you see, the inside is really dirty now because of it. And you actually see some of the Play-Doh still stuck to the inner mask. Like I said, it's a real tight fit. And as I said, especially it's hard putting it on with this. But it's a real tight fit, that headpiece is. Okay. Now, when I have it on, my eyes come right to the eye sockets, which that's what I wanted, for my eyes to actually come to them eye sockets. So it looks like my eyes are actually, the Bigfoot eyes are actually my eyes. But it's a real tight fit. But this is the headpiece that I made. It's now, it's over 10 years old now, so it's been through a lot. But this is the headpiece for that suit. Now, let me go over just a little bit more because we're like in between, excuse me, frames here. As you see the back over here and the markings, we have the spine, we have where the shoulder blades are marked, and we have where the rib cages is. I did this, and when I flex, you can see the muscles and back going like this, flexing at the same time. Even arms are being flexed. which right here, this is my nephew in the suit when we was actually making that suit, altering it, where I had to lift up the buttocks a little bit because it has to be tucked in a little bit more here. So I took on the inside of the suit, so there's just a little bit more there, you know. But as you see here, most of it is fitting the film already itself. Now remember, the zippers in front of this before I added breasts onto it and everything else. As you see here, here's me standing over here, and I was pushing up to make sure that we get that buttocks right in the same spot as we see there. And as you see the shoulders and the back of the neck, like I said right here, that's why I added this extra extension in the back of the head piece, so it can blend in. So when I do the suit and I comb it down, it blends in to the back where you can't see no seam whatsoever. Just like when I did the chin piece, I tucked it underneath here, then I had the extra piece of fur that comes up here, so I can move my head around, look around and stuff, raise my head up this way or that way, and it will never show a seam. This is the suit after I was completely done with it. As you see, oops, we have the pants by itself, we have the torso by itself with the breast, and you can see the nipples on it. And then we got the headpiece. These were the shoulder pads I was going to have in them, but I made these. But instead of, because you can't get 1967 shoulder pads, so I had to get a design of them and make them myself. But I didn't use them because I didn't need to after I added that extra padding in there. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play it, and you're going to see that flexing in the muscles. Even people say, oh, I don't see it, I don't see it. It's there. You can actually see it. They just don't want to admit to it. As you see me moving right here, see that back muscle, just the whole muscle's just flexing right there, and it flex. See how all the arm muscles are flexing and bouncing, and even in the back area there, right in this area, see how my muscles are closing in right there. Now watch. You'll see where the spine is right here. See how I'm flexing. See how the muscles are working in that suit. See it? And see where the arms are. See how these muscles are bulging out right here. Okay. These are test images of us when I went out and did some filming. Okay. And you see right here, you see some of the breast right here. Here's the breast on it. How I formed them. You can see the nipple on them, which this is a close-up. The breast loops right here, and it comes down. It's mostly down here, which same design as they would as a orangutan breast, because that's how they designed that suit for orangutan breast. Now I took this image of me, cut it out, put it on the side, and as you could do the comparison, and as you see, they're the same. No matter, a lot of people says, oh no, it's not the same. It's actually the same, because look, the head is lining up perfectly. The shoulders are lining up perfectly. The arm length is lining up perfectly. Even the hands. As you see, my arm's just a little bit longer than this Bigfoot, because here's the bottom of the buttocks right here, which has come to right to where his palm is. Bottom of my buttocks comes here where it would be right to my wrist. But anyway, as you see, the leg muscles are the same, bulging the same way. So see, this is identical to Roger Patterson's suit, whether they like it or not, whether they want to believe it or not, but that's the truth. As you see here, okay, you got images of me next to that suit. They're identical in every way. There might be some little difference, but not too much. Now, when I got done making a suit and everything else and all that, a few years went by, you know, and I said, well, for itself, what I should do, so what I did was, I said, well, I contacted John Green. This was in 2010. Now, the suit was already 3 years old, because I made the suit in 2007. And, you know, I was doing a lot of tests into it and everything else. So I sent John Green an email, and I asked him some 5 easy questions and stuff like that. And I showed him images of my suit, okay, and a little bit of clippings of me in the suit and everything else. Here's what he writes back to me. Okay, I'm impressed with the effort you have made and the skills you have applied in doing it, and particularly your costume, which is the closest to what the film shows that I have ever seen. Closest to what the film shows, which is Roger Patterson's film. Okay, Now, the reason why I needed his approval is because, remember, John Green was one of the men that actually viewed the film, the original Patterson's film. So that's why I had to contact him, because it's either him or Randy Hendon. Okay, but I think Randy Hendon already passed away, so I had to get a hold of John Green because he's one of the original ones that seen that film. So by him, he does back that my suit is the closest to what the film shows that he has ever seen. That's why he wrote me. He was impressed how I, the skills I showed implying this. Now, I'm not a costume maker, okay? And I'm never going to claim I'm a costume maker because this is the only costume I've ever made. But my point in the fact of it is, when you're doing research like this, if I can make the suit, well, it makes you think someone else couldn't make that suit. I don't care if it's, well, I had people make comments, well, this is 2012, this is 2015. Well, yeah, they could do it now. No, if you could do it today, you could do it back then. These are the points that I'm trying to figure out that people don't understand. Is you could tell them time and time again, but they still doesn't click up here for anything of them understanding that even though this film, and like I said, when I do my research when it comes to PG film, I talk about the film itself. I'm not talking about the existence of Bigfoot or anything else. I believe in one because I've seen one face to face. It was 20 to 25 feet away from me, which I'll make a video on that eventually. But as I pointed out here, it's easy to make that suit. The suit only took me 3 days to make, cost me $243. That was it. It's not thousands of dollars, and it didn't take me 10 years. I'm a researcher, and there's other good researchers out there, but when someone comes off and says they're a researcher and they'll start saying all this stuff without asking that person or anything else, they're not researchers because they're going to tell you what they think. They're going to tell you what they say. Okay? They're going to feed you a bunch of lies. That's why the media today is the way it is. But like I said, I'm not no costume maker. But how I made the suit is not what the material cost me or how I made it. I had to learn who made it first. And the people that made that suit was Roger Patterson, Bob Titmus, and Ray Wallace. Bob Titmus made the body, the legs, and torso and stuff. Roger Patterson made the headpiece, and the feet was made by Ray Wallace. So see, I had to study all three of these men to be able to make this suit. That's how I made this suit. Now I know somebody else is trying to make a copy of it, and it couldn't even come close. Okay, but I'm showing you facts. If I can do it, anybody else can do it. Okay, so the video here is about how I made the Patterson suit, which I showed you there, images, and I went over some details of how I did it, how much it costs, let you see the mask. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. If you want to know more information on this, you'll find this information and a lot more in my book called The Patterson and Gimlin Bigfoot Film 1967, which is on Amazon right now, which I'll leave the description of the site down below. That if you want to get into it, it's also get on Kindle as well. So I want to thank you again and have a good night.